안녕하세요. 저는 좋습니다. 감사합니다. You know we had to do it, right? You know we had to do it. Okay, it's the Perfect Red Velvet with their brand new release video and a song called Birthday. Let's check it out.
One, two, three, 지금부턴 다 surprise. A to Z 너를 위한 이 순간. Just today 뭐든 해도 되니까. Yeah. R to V 우리 따라와봐. 들뜨는 기분에 완벽한 날씨까지. Feel so high, oh my gosh. 전부 선물같이 덤덤. 오늘 하루 마치 diamond. I got a special day. 시작해 another chance. 달콤한 아이스크림 케이크 또다시 내게 건네. 너의 heartbeat check, sweat check. 지금 날 보면 떨리는 네 눈빛 check. Make your day. 두 손을 꼭 모은 채로 뭐든 상상해봐. 눈앞에 네가 원한 모든 걸 다 보여주고 싶어. It's my day and your day. It's a party party. 불꽃 다 타올라. 어서 빨리 빨리. 오늘 밤 we rock the world. Just rock the world. I can make the beat go. 빰빰빠라빰빠라빰빠라. Yeah. 바로 오늘이야. It's your birthday, birthday. 빰빰빠라빰빠라. 온 세상이 shine and so icy, icy. Birthday, birthday. 딱 지금이야. Party. Pop, pop, pop the champagne. 우리 맘대로 이루어지지. 더 꿈꾸고 바래. birthday. 어딜 봐도 그저 행복해져 난 매일. 넘치게 펼쳐지는 환상 같은 뷰. 자꾸 이 꼬리가 올라가. 모든 게 완벽해 okay. 눈 뜨면 이 모든 게 사라져도 어때. 두 눈을 맞춘다면 매일이 또 birthday. Something kinda crazy 너도 느껴지지. 내 말이 다 맞지 believe me kiss me. It's your day. 두 손을 꼭 모은 채로 계속 상상해봐. Every day. 너에게만 주고 싶어. 이건 very special. It's my day and your day. It's a party party. 불꽃 다 타올라. 어서 빨리 빨리. 오늘 밤 we rock the world. I can make the beat go. 빰빰빠라빰빠라. 바로 오늘이야. It's your birthday, birthday. 빰빰빠라빰빠라. 온 세상이 shine and so icy, icy. Birthday, birthday. 딱 지금이야. Party. Pop, pop, pop the champagne. 우리 맘대로 이루어지지. 더 꿈꾸고 바래. Birthday party. I can make the beat go, beat go. Bounce. Get it on, get it on. Get it on, get it on. Get it on, get it on. Can make the beat go. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. 바로 오늘이야. It's your birthday, birthday. Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. 온 세상이 shine and so icy, icy. Birthday, birthday. 딱 지금이야. Party. Pop, pop, pop the champagne. 우리 맘대로 이루어지지. 더 꿈꾸고 바래. Birthday party.
The gingerbread man boss, he ended up on the cake. Oh my goodness. Yeah, so when I heard about this, I heard okay, they're gonna come back and they're gonna release this single. And I heard that they were going to sample Gershwin's Rhapsody in Blue. And I was like, oh man, that's very exciting because it's one of my favorite pieces of all time. It's more like modern pop jazz But the first thing I ever heard from Red Velvet was "Feel My Rhythm," where they sample Bach, right? And so I was like, oh, they're gonna do that again, right? Like they're gonna sample a classical sound again. Oh, this is something to look forward to. Now, I was thinking about this idea in my head, and I was wondering, what in the world are they going to do with it? You know what I mean? Rhapsody in Blue is such a big, elaborate piece that has a lot of different sounds in it. It has been used in movies because it really had this modern, almost urban type of a feel to it. Like when you hear it, it makes you think of, well, at least me, it makes me think of cityscapes, New York, right? Tall buildings, traffic, people walking up and down the streets, bright lights and signs and things like that. Like when I hear that song, that's kind of the imagery that it evokes, and that busy type of feeling, that something's always going on, kind of. And it was interesting because I thought about "Feel My Rhythm," and what they did in there is, they sampled actually a nice long melodic run, right, from a Bach cello piece, right? And they used it to fit one of the sections of the song, and then, it moved into the verse section and it changed up completely. But it contrasted very well, fit perfectly. And so I was wondering, what in the world are they going to do with Rhapsody in Blue, right? And like, it's cool. It's cool what they did because, they sort of chopped up a little part of, like, the motive, right? Like, if you heard the piece, then dun 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 dun, right? Like the section that it's from, you know what I mean? And they didn't choose to take a big melodic run from the song. It has the little fanfare type of intro part. Like they use that in the beginning, right? But then they sort of take that little chunk out of it, a little portion of a phrase, basically from Rhapsody in Blue, and they use that in the verse section, and then there's some very nice change-ups too as they go through the sections. The sort of pre-chorus section that has it's a symphonic sound, bass sound, right? That comes in. I hear like horns. I hear like the bass end of a horn section, and then it goes into a very percussion-heavy sort of chorus. There was even like a punk rock sort of breakdown. It's very, very cool, man. It's very, very stylish. It's fun. This is a fun Red Velvet track. Red Side, right? This is just more Red Side, but it's absolutely fun. Something like Zimzalabim. Like it has that kind of a brightness to it, or it's a bright feel to it. But it's really a really clever way to use that little portion there. And so I was listening, for more, but I don't think I heard too much, which is, probably a good approach, not to rely on it too much, not to pull too much from it, you know what I mean? Just to take something and stylize it. The piece Rhapsody in Blue, like I said, it has this urban jazz type of feel to it, and they fit it over a very like hip hop style drum rhythm, right? So again, it works because it's an urban sound with an urban sound. They're both paired up together there. I really enjoyed that pre-chorus section when you hear this very cinematic bass sound and they're singing melodies over it. It's a beautiful, beautiful sound right there. It's really just so awesome. Okay, let's see. What a trippy video too, man. This is sort of visually reminds me of what was it, Happiness? And I know that the members did an interview and they made a statement about having some references in the lyrics that would are callbacks, to earlier things, earlier songs, and so yeah. So it's fun. They did a very fun track for it. Makes sense, right? Birthdays they should be fun, right? It should be a fun time. But let's listen through and see if we can pick out anything in particular. Maybe find anything else from Gershwin in there. Very chromatic, a scale on that chime sound, sort of. Whenever you hear that, it gives you that sort of like it's a cue that it's like a dream, kind of. You know what I mean? Like a dream or a flashback or some sort of sequence like that that's happening, usually in a movie or a show, right? Really fast strings, real like tremolo strings sound there. A little bit uneasy, the tension, building up some tension, and they're getting to this party presumably, and they're not allowed in. They're being denied by the big Cyclops man here. They seem nonplussed. Oh, the cymbal hit too. They had it in there. Bum 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 bum. It's perfect, man. It's perfect.
1, 2, 3 지금부턴 다 surprise A to Z 너를 위한 이 순간 Just today 뭐든 해도 되니까 Yeah R to V
It works so well.
뜨는 기분에 완벽한 날씨까지 Feel so high oh my gosh 전부 선물같이
So they're playing around with some effects too here as far as the production on it. Like I hear some compression, it's like being ramped up at times and then easing off, so you get this sort of pulsing to it, It's not intense, but just it's very like gradual. Sound comes in and then it kind of gets shrunk down a little bit, and then it expands more. And little record scratch tape loop kind of effects on there, you know what I mean? Very modern, very, very much another juxtaposition, another anachronism, something that's from the classical sort of repertoire with a very, very contemporary, modern type of touch being applied to it. Harmonies, the harmonies.
시작해 another chance 달콤한 아이스크림 케이크 또다시 내게 건네 너의 heartbeat check sweat track 지금 날 보면 떨리는 네 눈빛 track make your day
Oh, this right here. Oh, listen to that bass.
네가 원한 모든 걸 다 보여주고 싶어 It's my day and your day It's a party party 불꽃 다 타올라 어서 빨리 빨리 오늘 밤 we rock the world Just rock the world I can make the beat go
So it feels like you go through different periods there almost, right? Musically, like when that cinematic bass sound is going on and there's so much space that opens up and they're doing these melody parts over it, and then the percussion comes in, and it's it's almost like there's a triplet group in there, and then little fills to sort of end each rhythmic phrase or motive there as far as the percussion. Then a more punchy, almost like contemporary rock sound drum comes in, right? And this wonderful build up in the pre-chorus section to bring in this very bright, quirky, chorus part here that has just a great feel to it. It's a very nice structure to this song. Very good use of there's contrast in every layer. Your bass sounds change and they morph. Again, spanning time, almost going with things that are more classical and cinematic to things that are, like an 808, a nice round, solid 808, matched up with very, very sort of modern rock type of drums. It's it's very cool, and I guess it does tie into the concept kind of. A birthday is one of these markers that we use to indicate time, right? Like we've grown, we've matured, we've reached another level, and so moving stylistically through these different sounds that first going classical and then going very modern and then getting very contemporary, and it might be suggesting or reinforcing that type of an idea, right? So very, very, very clever stuff as usual from SM and Red Velvet. Yes, sick 808, man. Guitar sound too. Oh yes. There's a guitar drenched in distortion right here. Yeah, and then that sort of synth whistle tone that keeps like sweeping up and all that. There's so many things going on. Yeah, it's an eclectic mix of different sounds that are really tied to certain styles or genres. You know what I mean? And this imagery, like Edward Scissorhands, like there are so many references in this video. There are so many. Like, this is so rich with all of its context and just so many different things. Help me out with the references, you know what I mean? Because I'm not gonna get all of them. I'm gonna miss probably most of them, but some of them are very obvious, and this is obviously the Edward Scissorhands reference, but I know they like to do spooky stuff. We just did Really Bad Boy the last time, Red Velvet song, and they referenced The Shining in there. The werewolf, that could be like any given werewolf movie, American Werewolf and Werewolf in London or Paris or whatever. I mean, they're like, there's a lot of references in there. They seem to like spooky references too. I don't know, but anyways, let me know what I miss as far as the references. Nice drum fill. Oh, it's just so good again. Yeah, the pre-chorus, it's the vocal queens, you know what I mean? It's that harmonization. It's so quintessentially perfect, right? Like every single time, and it's just all over that beginning of the pre-chorus build up there. It's so good, man. It's aside from the Gershwin sample that's used in the verse part. Once we transition into the pre-chorus here, that's just like it's it's like that first bite of the birthday cake that you take, right? That richness of it hits you, and you get the dopamine hits, right? And you start feeling good up here, and then the coolness of it also, like in the bass. It's so good, man. It's so good. I love it.
어서 빨리 어젯밤 we rock the world I can make the beat go 바로 오늘이야 It's your birthday 온 세상이 shine and so I see Birthday 딱 지금이야 Party pop the champagne 우리 맘대로 이뤄지지 Can make the beat go. It's your birthday. 세상이 shine and so I see. Birthday, 딱 지금이야. Party, pop the champagne. 우리 맘대로 이뤄지지. 더 꿈꾸고 party, birthday party.
Oh man, oh, they did it again. They did it again. But was there really ever any doubt? And they also mentioned something about the choreography, that they were gonna have that hands part that is supposed to be like playing the piano. That when they do that with the hands. Yeah, well, you don't really play piano that way. I mean, you could do it, but it's not gonna sound like anything in particular. But I get it, right? I get it. Gershwin was actually quite an interesting player, actually. If you can find footage of him at the piano, he doesn't look like what the piano instructors in college would tell you to play like. He doesn't. He has his own style. Gershwin was so good in his time. The big thing to do was to travel to France, right, to the conservatory, and study music and become legitimate in that regard. Like that's what everybody else did, and Gershwin leaves America and he travels to Europe to attend the conservatory. And as is usual with a lot of these things, even today, if you're going to go to a school, you will audition, you will play as part of your entrance into whatever that institution happens to be. Now, when Gershwin arrived there, he played, and they had to turn him away from the conservatory, and the reason was because they said, you're too good. Like, if you come here and learn what we do, you're not gonna be as good. You're gonna lose touch with what you do, and what you do is so much better. You know what I mean? They said basically they didn't want responsibility for ruining Gershwin or damaging his talent or something like that. So he got turned away actually from it. But I think the song itself actually does sort of allude to that kind of idea, that kind of spirit. Like it's telling you, just dream big and just have fun and be you and do your thing and do it well, and it'll work. You know what I mean? Like it's what you should do. It's what you're meant to do. It's a great track, and I'm with my background and everything. I mean, I've been lucky enough to know some very, very amazing musicians, classical musicians. I had a piano instructor, not my main piano instructor, but a piano instructor. So I had to take many keyboard classes because it was not my instrument. It wasn't, I took everything I could. That way I could bolster that, get a little bit more practice in. And one of the instructors that I had, he was a PhD. He's a doctor in this stuff, and he was world class. Like every year, he would travel to Europe and he would travel to Germany and he would play these, big time in the classical world. Anyways, these very, very renowned type of performances and such. And there was one semester when he did Rhapsody in Blue, and it was so good that he really just nailed it. You know what I mean? And it's very interesting because it's Gershwin, so of course it's good. But then you have somebody who's so competent in it, and they play it, and they sort of like it's one part of it is making it your own. The other part of it is being competent enough to play the piece, and everybody knows what it is that you're playing still. You know what I mean? I say all this just to sort of explain that I have a very established type of appreciation for the music, and I'm very, very happy with the use of it here. It isn't a controversial thing. There will be some takes, okay? There will, because some people just don't agree with it, okay? That's gonna happen. You're gonna hear people who are like purists and very, adamant about it, and they may, be inclined to take issue with it. But from someone who's, got the same type of background and really has an appreciation for the classical music, I'm very, very happy with the way that it was used here. Okay, it's another one of these things that, Red Velvet just does, right? It has to be the right group. It has to be the right song. And they're just perfect. So, I wouldn't want anybody else to do it. You know what I mean? I would only want Red Velvet to handle this. And it's going to be downloaded and put onto my playlist, and I'm going to be listening to it every day from now on, because it's absolutely just a brilliant song, great structure, that wonderful Red Velvet harmonization, it's a banger of a track, man. It's really fun. It's super fun, man. This is really cool. This is really cool what they did. So let me know in the comments if all the references that are in there. I will, of course, watch and listen to it more and more. But I for sure am not gonna get everything, So the things I miss, just let me know, and we can go from there. They might allude to something that I still have yet to check out. Of course, there's still plenty of Red Velvet content to go through. So, but newest release, Red Velvet, Birthday, a brilliant song, super fun, from the Perfect Red Velvet, just one of the best groups that is out there. I really enjoyed it. As a classically trained musician and somebody who was brought up in the classical sound, the classical styles, I very much enjoyed the use of Rhapsody in Blue in this song. It was very cool. Red Velvet, Birthday.